Good morning, everybody. I have decided to reopen the Wednesday live on YouTube as an example of our mastermind call. So if you guys are not comfortable with sharing your video, then turn off your video. Today's conversation is going to be about sort of your potential or capacity as a reseller. So you can always do more, and people always ask, is it okay if I change my listing goal from 5 to 10 or 10 to 15 or 15 or 20? I think a different way of looking at it might be, what is your capacity? How many could you do in a day? Start to finish, looking at what you have, your resources, your space, your time, and then probably pick a goal that's less than that so that you can realistically achieve it. So a few things happened this week. I noticed some people have been presenting questions in the group or questions to me saying, I would like to get to X. This is my goal. I'd like to get there. And this is what I'm doing. But it doesn't seem to be working out. And I'm getting actually two different kinds of answers with this. So some people will say two different responses. Oh, it's totally okay that you feel that way. Me too. I have that same situation. And other people will say, let's look at what you're doing. Let's do some adjustments. Tell me what your process is like. So it's sort of like two different oriented answers to that presentation of this is where I want to go. And I just find it interesting that the people that generally offer responses or help or let's do it together, those people who are trying to help you usually are doing well from what I've seen. So when I ask advice from people who are doing well at reselling, they have an answer or response, or they're willing to help. When I'm asking a question to somebody that is not doing well or not doing well in reselling or life, their answer will be, I feel that way too. There's no actual improvement. So I think that this video is about who is holding you back and maybe understanding your true potential, because for most of us, it's ourselves holding ourselves back because we have limited our potential or don't understand our potential or capacity. And that's what I want people to think about. Who are you surrounding yourself with? If you surround yourself with people who are all action oriented, want to help you, have your best interest in mind, it's so different. And usually those people tend to be doing better. And oddly enough, those people tend to have more time. So it's like you have it all or you have nothing. So surround yourself with people who want the best for you. And that's, I guess, easier said than done. So I want to talk about capacity, Juanita, with your, sorry to call on you so early. With your situation, do you know how many listings you could do in a day?
I haven't started. Like I said, I was going on vacation. I'll be back on the 11th, and then I'm going to try to see. I'm going to do photography today and see how many I can do and set it up. I'm just not sure with it being on you. So you want to give me an idea of the challenge?
Yes. Right now, I want you to set a baseline.
Okay.
So this is important to understand. The baseline allows you to determine whether or not something makes sense to you or doesn't make sense to you. So I didn't have a baseline when I first started. I just resold when I had time. I wish I had sat down and said, okay, I have an hour. How many can I do? And then let's say I did one because I'm just starting in an hour. Now, when somebody makes a suggestion on YouTube or you hear something like, oh, maybe you should change white background. And let's say you don't have a white background. Mm-hmm. And now it takes you 2 hours to do a listing instead of one because you don't know how to do that process. In my opinion, that would be going backwards. So you need to, before you go on vacation, or anytime, you could set a baseline, how many you can do in an hour, photos or listing, to get an idea. And then we'll figure out how much time you have in your schedule.
Okay.
And then
I have, once I close the business, I have at 8 o'clock to midnight because I can't sleep. So that gives me 3 to 4 hours.
When do you wake up?
7:30 in the morning.
Are you okay going to bed at midnight, or do you want to go to bed earlier?
No, I'd rather stay up till 1 or 2.
I see. So not being able to fall asleep, not necessarily bad then.
No, I'm asleep as soon as I go to bed.
Okay. That's all good then. So what is your plan for reselling? What do you want from this?
Basically to clear out the inventory, see if I still love what I used to do 10 years ago. And if I
Mhm.
don't, find something different, but continue to resell.
Is this extra income,
Yeah.
investment income? What do you use the money for?
I'm just going to put it in the bank.
Okay, I love it. And then is there some personal stuff you're selling as well, or just unlisted inventory?
It's the 77,000 cards that I had from 10 years ago.
I got it. Cool. So after those are gone, because I know there's plenty of card sellers in the group,
hmm
do you feel like you want to list them all as soon as possible? What's the objective?
Yeah, get them out as quick as possible. Don't buy any new inventory. Just bank the money.
Yeah, and how many listings are up now?
None. I
None.
just started.
I love it. Okay, so 77,000 cards. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think if you want to post in the group and tag myself in tech and sports, we would love to look at that because that's cool. That's like a very clear goal.
Yeah.
Let's try to list these 77,000 cards,
Quick as possible.
and you don't need to buy anything else.
No, just the supplies for the packaging.
Interesting. Okay, I love it. That's cool. So hopefully we'll end up at, like, let's say you end up at 70. Wait, you said 77,000?
And remember, some of them's duplicates,
Okay.
so I
So
don't have to. I do the listings, and then I can, because I sell them individually with the images, so people know exactly what they're getting.
So let's say you got to the point where you're listing 77 cards a day, which I think is very reasonable because
100.
100, okay, 100. So if you listen 100 a day, that would still take 770 days,
hmm
right? Which is like 2.5 years. So maybe, and we don't know yet, part of this process will be sorting or lotting. We
Yeah,
don't know.
right,
So if it's potentially like there are certain cards that should be sold together, some that shouldn't be listed at all,
right. Damaged, automatically
damaged.
trash.
So I'm excited to see how we do grading, sorting, and I think that's all
Well,
really,
I'm doing
really
the
important.
sorting as the sorting is by the name because the name is always a constant. The players change teams at different years, so the sorting is alphabetical because people are mainly looking for a certain player.
I love it. So I'm going to use one analogy here, which is I was watching this soccer machine. It was interesting. It would shoot a soccer ball at the person, and the person could. Now you have the opportunity to kick it into the goal or use a header or whatever. The ball would come. It's a machine that shoots a ball at you.
Right.
Now I find it interesting that a professional soccer player, they can turn off the light, so it's pitch black, they can still score a goal. It's unbelievable. They can hear the sound of the ball and they know where it's coming from and they know where the goal is. They can turn the lights out and they can still do it. And the adjustments that their body does to get in the right position, right force, right angle, right everything. There's like hundreds of small adjustments they do in order to be able to do that, but they do it in the dark. So the reason why I bring that up is when you're listing cards, there's thousands of different little adjustments like the edges. Like, I think one advantage people can have against the big card sellers who use scanners is if you take actual pictures, you can show the edges and the wear better than a scan.
Right.
So it's something to consider because I think tech could list 1,000 cards in a day if it was completely optimized.
Yeah, I have a Fujitsu scanner, but I don't like it. I prefer to do the digital pictures with
Okay,
I have a camera like text, but it's an older version.
got it. Okay, I'm excited. So we're gonna find out what your potential is when you get back from vacation,
And I start back to work on July 11th.
July 11th. All right, excited. Keep us updated.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Scott D, do you want to chat?
Yeah, sure.
Any
Willing to do
anybody
this.
anybody coming to mind that's holding you back besides yourself?
Um, Managing family, mainly myself. No,
Gotcha.
it's all on my shoulders. Yeah, for sure.
So what kind of this is a personal question, but what kind of responsibilities, what do you have to manage throughout the day?
Uh, Got the boy home from school, pets the boy, just that kind of stuff,
So in an ideal day, how many listings get up?
Um, right now my goal is, so I'm in everything salary that's trying to head towards clothing, I believe.
Okay.
So right now I'm about 5 to 10 everything, and my new goal is to add 5 pieces of clothing a day until so the clothing can start taking over, hopefully soon, because I'm tired of getting returns on broken typewriters.
I love it. So 5 clothing and 5 everything.
Mhm.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm limited on space, and that's my big thing right now. So
Okay. So I'm gonna mute you because there's a little bit of reverb, but the just a thought here. This is really smart because they say you work full time on your to pay the bills and work part time on building your fortune. So when you work on a niche, it takes a while. It can take 5 years to get really, really good at something. So in the meantime, you still need to pay your bills, and everything is easier when you're small. Like if you're under 1,000 items, it's easier to be an everything seller in a sense that, like, let's say you go to one garage sale and you only have time to go to one garage sale, you can't niche down. That's not enough places to go to actually niche down. So in this scenario, you would be getting what you can to get by and then learning another niche. So if everyone could be patient and do this for a while, you could kill 2 birds with one stone. You could reduce the death pile or sell those high profit items that sell quickly, and also work on something that you can scale, because there's no examples of a scaled everything store that's successful. Every single everything store that's big has failed. It's interesting. Let's go with Sally. Sally, good morning. What's your listing capacity per day?
Well, I'm doing an experiment right now to figure that out. And I think there are 2 ways to look at determining your capacity. It's kind of like putting water in a jug of unknown size or volume. You either measure the water as you put it in, or in my case, you put the hose in the jug, and when it overflows, you measure how much it could hold. And so what I did is I started last week processing 20 a day. And I say processing because I'm still listing 6, but I'm putting the other 14 in a bank. And boy, it's a good way to find out what your capacity is. The answer for me is my capacity is 20 a day if the inefficient way I'm doing things now. I think it might be 30 a day if I can figure out how to get all the loose ends together. Now, I've had phenomenal help from Landon, Thomas, Isaiah, all helping me kind of sort out how to get this process a little bit better. But I think that my capacity is going to be about 30 a day.
All right. So 30 a day, you feel like you don't need additional time. It's just small improvements.
No, I need to improve what I'm doing. It's taking me too long for each of the processes. So
I see.
I'm just continually whittling that stick down to where it gets to a point. When it gets to a point, then I should be able to do, I don't want to hire people. I want to cap my store at about 1,000. I want to have about 20 sales a day eventually. Maybe a little less than that, 15 to 20 sales a day. And during that time, I want to increase my profit margin, because right now with summer, I'm selling a lot of really low dollar stuff, but I'm using this time to kind of sharpen that stick a little bit. So when it gets, to where things are better, I have improved to the point where I can leverage on the fact that the market hopefully is going to be better.
How long
Sally,
is-
why was I not mentioned first?
Thomas, you mention yourself all the time. Why do you need anyone else to chime in?
Well, you know, as you know, I
Thomas,
I don't know.
crawl
What?
back, crawl back under your rock.
I broke it this morning though. It's a big problem.
Crawl back under your rock. We're talking grown-up people talk now. So Chris, does it sound like I'm approaching the problem of not being able to get getting my processes better? Does it sound like that's a logical approach?
it is a logical approach. How long are the 20 listings taking?
Well, under my normal stand, it was taking, I'm doing it in sections. It was taking me 4.5 minutes per listing to photograph. And so I thought, well, that's dumbass, stupid. So actually the person under the rock said, well, here's a step. I sent him a video. He said, well, you could eliminate this. So I cut a minute out of it there. And so then I thought, well, that's not too bad, you know. And then I tried a new method yesterday and it took me 9 hours. So I'm back to my old method. So the listing is taking me an inordinate, I can't say the word, amount of time because I don't have enough similar things to list similar. I'm getting faster just because doing 20 a day, I don't want to spend my whole day doing it. So being, self-serving, I'm going to find a way to cut that down. I want my day to be, I don't know, 5 hours. I don't know.
Okay, so this is great. And so how I would approach this is look at how long it takes. So let's say you want to go from 20 to 30, and the traditional approach would be, okay, it took 9 hours to do 20. So let's do 4.5 more hours. So 13.5-hour eBay day to do 30. That's the logical, mechanical way of looking at it. But if you can reduce the time it takes per listing.
That's what I want to do. I don't want to do more badly. I want to do more efficiently.
So I'm going to give you an example of how I tried to approach this at work. Yesterday, I had a lady package and it took 6 minutes to package an item. And I showed her, I said, what's the difference between me doing it in 30 seconds and you taking 6 minutes? It's 12 times longer, exact same process. So I watched her do it. And she said, wow, this is so embarrassing. Like, you hired me. I feel like you're babysitting me. And is my performance really that bad that you need to watch me? And I'm like, you need to just remove all that stuff in your brain. Doesn't matter. I'm just looking at how long it's taking you. I'm not judging you. I just want to look at how your process is. So let's do two things. I'm going to watch you do it. Then you watch me do it. And then we'll do it together. So I watched her do it. It took 6 minutes. So she was building boxes and I noticed all these things, hundreds of little things. First thing, when she was taping the box, the side with the seams was on the side. So that's really awkward. So at least put the seams on top when you're doing the tape gun. After every single piece of tape that she rolled, she put the tape gun down and she would like walk a couple steps to the table and put the tape gun down. And sometimes she was building the boxes on the floor. So I was like, we have a table at waist height on purpose. So you can build the box on the table. You actually don't need to set the tape gun down. You can just rotate the box to do the tape. And then the item she was putting into the box one at a time. And we're selling sometimes 50, 60 items at a time. So she was like, pick it up, investigate, put it down. So then I showed her that I move all the items that sold in that order right next to the box. And I can essentially just double check. It's just all going straight into the box. The first time after I watched her do it, she went from 6 minutes to 3 minutes, just the very next time she tried it. And then I'm assuming it's going to get down to under, I'm okay with 3 minutes on orders that are bigger. But there was all these little things that she was doing that were extra. So I was just saying, all I'm doing here is just removing steps. I'm not adding. You do the same thing that I do, but also 66 other things. Let's remove it. So what she would do, and because she's like, I didn't want to make any mistakes, so I would write like order number 7 on all the different pieces. I'm like, you don't need that's like a waste of paper and time and writing. You don't have to do that. Just do them in order. And I showed her, and I never do any of those extra steps. And that's the difference. And I was looking at everything is like that, all these different steps, carrying stuff to the car. I carry stuff to the car, carry something back from the car. All these little things that you do, you can cut down the time dramatically. Somebody in the chat is saying that it takes it takes 5 hours. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 45 minutes to post one item. So 5 a day is the goal. And it takes, what is that? 3 hours to do 5 a day. So that's a really good baseline for this person. And they're saying that it takes up to 10 minutes of that 45 minutes to edit the photo. Right? So that's a huge amount of time for something that you could completely eliminate. You don't have to edit your photos. So that's already in the same time it takes to list five items, just 3 hours for this person. If they reduced the editing, it'd already go down to 2 hours instead of 3, just with the editing reduction. So as I build out this studio and I watch people, Sally, you're a great candidate to film yourself doing it. We'll all look at it, remove things. And I think people need to get this, not you, Sally, but other people are very negative about this process. Like, no one is judging you. No one cares about you. People only care about themselves. Stop worrying about people judging you and just do it.
It is funny you mentioned that. I sent it to the person under the rock for him to look at it. And I said, Lord, I said, it took me a little longer to get started. He said, why? And I said, well, I was showing off that top that I had made that I thought was so cute I was wearing. He said, yeah. I said, well, when I film myself, that kind of makes your butt look like it's Massachusetts. So I said I had to stop and change clothes. And I did. So then I thought, Thomas did not care what I was wearing, but it was helpful. And I have it recorded, and I have it recorded when it's taking me 4.6 minutes to do it. So I will upload that. I don't know where I kind of act like I know what I'm talking about. I don't know where to upload it, but I have it. I have the film clip.
Excellent. Thomas, person under the rock, rather.
I was just going to say, I didn't ever actually watch the video. I just let her give me the stats and was like, yeah, that was bad. That was also bad.
And you wonder why I didn't mention you. You wonder why I didn't mention you.
You meant people know I live under a rock. I can't afford anything more than a rock. The bridge is fancy for me.
I love it. So Steve is asking if eBay only allows you to start with 5 listings. I believe it's either 5 listings or 10 listings. So as long as you do a good job, list 5 or 10 items that you know will sell, undercut everyone because you're just getting started. Then make sure you ship those items immediately, do a perfect job, and they will increase your listings. Starting at the 10 listing limit for me, I was able to increase it to 30,000 items in 4 months. All you have to do is make sure you're top rated seller and do a perfect job. So it is in your best interest to go slowly. If you max out your limit and do a bad job, they will never raise your limit. You'll just be stuck. So much better to start with 5 listings, sell all 5 perfectly. When you ask for more, they will give you more. It's when you have a bunch of stuff listed, you don't do a good job and they don't sell, that they don't give you more allowance. They need to see you doing a great job. So bunch of questions. People are asking about promoted listings, and you have to adjust. Murphy's Mercantile is saying he stopped promoting his listings and sales went from 5 to 0%. I'm sorry, he went from 5% promoted listings to 0% and his sales went up. See, all of this stuff doesn't matter if you don't know what you're promoting your items at and which items you're promoting, so that you can accurately assess. I was listening to this school teacher that this experiment would never work today. But the first day she said, guess what? All kids with blue eyes are smarter. So they get to, just treat them differently because they're smarter. And all the kids started like, oh, I didn't know that. That's so unfair. And then the next day, the teacher was like, oh, I'm sorry, I misread the study. Actually, people with brown eyes are much smarter. And the kids were like, oh no, he screwed up. These are like 7 years old. And the kids like immediately started bullying each other. Like the brown-eyed kids were calling people bluey to make fun of them, even calling other brown-eyed kids bluey if they were slow to do something. And then the next day, the teacher was like, oh, I'm sorry. The final results came in and it doesn't matter what color your eyes are. Like that's how people in the reselling community act. They like, oh, promoted listings works for you. Boom, I'm going to turn it on. Doesn't work for you. I'm going to turn it off. Why do you people act like that? It doesn't make no, it actually is not relevant. You don't need promoted listings to sell. And when you purchase promoted listings, you will get more visibility. Whether or not that's worth it is up to you. And that's not speculation. You will get more visibility with promoted listings. That's just how it works. Now, in some categories, it's not necessary. So this experiment of people being so reactionary, that's why all my titles are really negative, so I can catch all these people, but then every video is positive because they need to get a grip. It doesn't matter what one person does. It only matters what you do. So metal detecting was posting 10 a day until 1600, and now is trying to stop to sell all those items. So in our mentorship group, which is what we're doing right now, we made a section called the eBay white papers, and I added a section yesterday called what to do if your sales are slow and your sell-through rate is too low. So this is going to apply to metal detecting. You guys ready? You ready? There's 3 steps to this. Number 1, this person stopped listing. Okay, so that's strike number 1. That your sales will never come back if you stop listing. So you have to pick a goal. Let's say 10 a day. List 10 fresh, new, in-demand items for 1 week straight. Don't miss a day. 7 days in a row. List 10 a day, or if you're worried about cash flow or something, reduce it to 5 a day. Second, you got to go back through your inventory system and look for items that are not listed or listed incorrectly. Okay, so go through your listings, start at the very beginning of your inventory system. And if you have time, do that all day. Go through all your listings, make sure everything in every bin, every box, every rack is listed. Go back, make sure all listings are ideal. Number 3, do an aggressive markdown. Get the stuff that's not selling, discount it and get it out of your store, and then start listing only good stuff. That's it. That's a 3-step plan. I just gave it to you for free. Anybody that has slow sales, just repeat that over and over again until your sales come back. It takes 1 week. In giving people this advice for a year now, I have perfect results. No one has failed. 7 days in a row, meet your listing goal. Go back through your inventory. The very first box that you touch will have an item that's not listed in it. Probably. Then, especially if it's the oldest, go to the oldest section first. Okay, and then the heavy discount so that you don't have to do that for all your listings. A couple in the group, it would take them like 3 years to go back through all their listings and change everything to adjust it. Don't do that. Just do a mix of adjusting and discounting. Alex is saying, how can people sell a screen protector at $159 with free shipping? It's pretty straightforward. Either they're using it as a loss leader, they're shipping it with a stamp, or they have subsidized shipping. Figsy saying, should you go over your listing goal? It depends on what your capacity is. If your capacity is 20 a day, and you do 20 a day, and one day you have a whole day, you want to do 60, go for it. But don't do that, and then the next 2 days you miss your 20 goal. So you can do extra stuff, but maintain your capacity. A bunch of people have been asking about rising prices and the cost of McDonald's hash browns becoming $2.20. I actually just made a video yesterday addressing this. I think gas will go to $10 a gallon. So what are you going to do when gas goes to $10 a gallon? And I'm going to give you guys 4 things right now, but that's what the video is about. You could reduce your expenses. You can only do that so much, but that's important. You could work an extra hour or work an extra day. And in my video, one of my workers asked if she could make $400 a month more because her rent went up $400. And I was like, okay, first off, if your rent went up $400, you can't just make $400 more because there's tax. You have to make $700 more because we live in California. And she's like, oh, I didn't think of that. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, well, did any of your other bills go up? And she said, yeah, everything went up. I'm like, that's not this type of mentality where you just make a little extra to pay for the bill does not work. So I set up a plan for her to make an extra $1,000 a month. And it essentially equated to working an extra hour a day. Like that's the only way. She's not good enough at her job to get paid more per hour. So I was like, you have to work 22 extra hours to make an extra $1,000. I mean, it's actually, I don't know the exact math, but it ended up being like an hour and 37 minutes or something, a little like an hour and a half for all the work days in order to reach that goal. So we looked at her schedule, adjusting her to do some extra work for me to be able to reach that goal, but make more money, save on expenses. You could, this is a super duper hack. So everyone smash the like button out there in YouTube land. You could convert one of your hobbies that used to cost money into something that makes money. So I don't know, this is like going way back, but in 2017, I did this call for free. The first people in the group were Tino, the Soul Advisor, Prof Sales. I don't know if you guys remember him, OG. He's back, I think, somewhere on YouTube. And Luke, Endless Entrepreneurs. I did this for free. I actually enjoyed talking to other resellers, and we just hung out every single week. Then I turned that hobby into something that earns money, right? So we're launching the Reseller Podcast Network. Now we're arranging all the different pieces so people can pick a time slot. So if you want to edit your own videos, you can just drop me the video and we'll upload it. But this is you turning something like YouTube or something interesting into a hobby to earn extra income. That's another way to increase your income. So saving expenses, work an extra hour or work an extra day, turn a hobby into a business. And Tech has like 18 of these things. All the things he does for fun end up making more money. So like the reseller ruler, shout out to the reseller ruler. That's a hobby that he does. He makes them on his porch. He would do that, maybe not for free, but he enjoys doing things that provide value. So that's interesting, right? That hobby. And then the final thing is you can sell things you own. I think this is a really powerful. If you sell things you own, you get rid of clutter, more mental real estate. You figure out the value of things. You might discover a niche you actually like. So those 4 things are huge. I don't see the bills going down. Alex, I feel like banning you because you say the government has to do something. The only thing the government is going to do is make it harder, bro. Like if you're asking for a handout, that's not happening. They're only going to make it harder. Unfortunately, we're all on our own. We got to figure it out. The government is not going to do something, and they can make it worse. That's the only thing they can do. So stop worrying about the government. That's the worst answer ever, man. That's totally a buzzkill. Okay, one more thought on a really, really positive note is I think reselling is the answer for everyone. You can make your own schedule. You can work as much as you like. There is no ceiling. Just have to make sure you list in-demand items, go through your old inventory, and discount and remove old inventory. So Zom Creations is saying, when you discount those items, are you ending and relisting? Hell no. No ending and relisting. It's a waste of time. No ending and sell similar. Just save that time and list another item. I've done all the math and all the calculations on this. People waste an insane amount of time not adding money. When you end an item and sell similar, you at best break even because you have a listing that, okay, you have this listing that's up, right? You take the time so that costs you money. So you pay money to delist and relist the item that you already have. Like change the listing first. And if you're discounting the item and it doesn't sell, that's a really, really good indication that the item you sold was bad to begin with. So don't do that. And man, people who have to rely on the government, that's a sad life. I would rather you, no, I mean, I'm not talking about welfare. I'm talking about people in the chat are saying that we have to wait for them to do legislation. I don't have time for that. I got to take matters into my own hands. I can't wait for the government to help me. No one's coming to help me. If all my businesses fail, no one will help me. Oh my goodness. Opus says, hey, Chris, my sales dropped over 30%. It could be the summer slowdown. It might not be you. Boils down to two things: pricing or inventory. You're competitively priced, coupon markdown. So, okay, the main thing is that right now, most people are 30% down. You have to adjust. I know what it is. Your inventory is not seasonal. In order to offset that situation that you were just talking about, you have to list in-demand items now. If you continue to list the same items as before, you'll be 30% down. And Aaron is saying legislation is what caused inflation. Yes, it's why gas prices are $10 for no reason. How long should you wait for your old inventory to sell? Great question. It depends on what it is. So if it's not in-demand inventory and your price too high, then be willing to wait up to 50 years for your item to sell. So you're going to pay 10 cents per month, $1.20. It's going to cost you $60 in holding costs, and maybe in 50 years it'll sell, but probably not. So you have to look at each individual item, and it will tell you how long it takes. Every single item has an actual how long it takes to sell. So it depends on your risk tolerance. If you need money now, price it to sell. Eleanor says, substitute the word taxpayer for the government. Huh, that's fun. I like that, Eleanor. So
it really makes you think differently when you're saying the government needs to do this, the government needs, it's us.
It's
so
us.
It's the taxpayers need to do something. It's like, oh, well, that's me. So it's just, it helps me not be so cynical, but anyway, it's just something for myself that I do that I find helpful.
Alex is saying, I have a mixture of everything. How long do I keep items until they sell? So be prepared for the items that never sell if you're an everything seller. I'm taking questions today. So if you sell one thing, you know how long it takes to sell. If you sell everything, you have no idea how long things take to sell. Waterside saying, do I think it's best to learn all different categories? Hell no. I'm literally in the process right now of unfollowing everybody on Instagram because I don't want to learn from everybody. I changed my mind. I only want to learn from a couple people. Everything's already been figured out. I don't want to learn from somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. So I'm going to just eliminate all of that, unsubscribe from everybody, and just pick like 3 people to follow. And I think I'm going to just like follow Warren Buffett because I like him. I like Jack LaLanne. Is that guy's name? Live to 100 or 99. I like that guy because he stayed in good health. But yeah, a mixture of everything is bad news. I don't want to listen to everyone. It's too much. Like when you turn on social media, it's the whole world's problems. How can you solve that? It's too hard. Oh, there we go. Johnny says it doesn't take 50 years because inflation acts like a discount. There we go. I haven't seen that happen though. I haven't been able to charge more, maybe a little bit more, but not a ton. Juanita?
Yeah, Steve had a question back in the chat when he was asking about how many a day, because eBay limits you to you grab. He was directing the question at me because I do 100.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I already have a store and all that, so I'm good.
Okay.
I've
Also,
been selling since 2001, 20 years.
Gotcha. So you have a ungated account. It doesn't have restrictions.
Right.
So also getting a store subscription does not override that. If you're just starting and you get an anchor store that allows allows 10,000 listings and you have a 10 limit beginner governor, you can't list more than 10.
Yeah, well, I've had for a long time and listed a lot of different things before, so I'm up to 10,500 auction style, plus 50,000 because I'm selling cards.
I love it. Opus is asking if I want to jump into Whatnot, does what I sell on eBay stay normal? Or does it apply to the Whatnot crowd? Absolutely not. The crowds are very different. I would say that eBay is an older crowd. By older, I mean over 30. Not old, older. Whatnot's a younger crowd. And they're not necessarily expecting vintage. I saw plenty of people killing modern. I made more money modern, way more money. Not to say that you can't make money vintage, but there's both. There's all kinds of customers on there. You need to figure out what category. I saw a lady selling cookies for $8 a cookie, and she would not give me a discount, even at 10 cookies. I'm like, can't you just bake another batch for $50? I offered $50 for 10 cookies and she passed. She wants $8 a cookie. And I'm like, man, I respect the hustle, but that's a lot. And she doesn't understand that's one package instead of 10. Like anyway, it doesn't make sense. I will not be offering her my patronage anymore. Catherine says your post office wants you to use a manifest. Tell them it's not necessary. And you can also do that inside of the eBay. Like when you're doing, I'm sorry, let me back up. I need to give the best answer I can. When you're printing your labels, Catherine, you can generate a scan sheet as long as you print 2 or more packages. So if you use eBay multi-shipping, you'll be able to do that. Now, that was one of the reasons why I never generated a manifest, because I printed my items one at a time. Is there a way to buy out an eBay store from a partner? Definitely. So what I would do is, if the tax number is under the person leaving eBay, I would convert it to a corporation of some kind, and then change it to the corporation. And then it can be anybody as the owner. That's why eBay couldn't prevent me from starting my own eBay store. I'm not going to do that, but if I wanted to own part of an LLC, they would never know I'm on eBay because it's not my name. Polo Ralph Lauren Downs will not sell to the Whatnot crowd. This is way too generic. You can sell anything to the Whatnot crowd. Depends on the price, depends on which category you're in. If you're selling Polo Ralph Lauren button in the jewelry category, probably no one will buy it. But if you're selling Polo Ralph Lauren button down with a good graphic to the men's demographic in the men's category, in thrift and contemporary, it might sell. Unless it's vintage, then maybe in the vintage category. Lisa says she'll mail me 8 cookies for $50, but I didn't see. Now it's too much because I wanted to support this person growing their business. And I was just thinking to myself, you're selling cookies for $8 right now. Wait till there's 10 cookie sellers. Okay. Watch your price drop. There's no way. Right now, you're the only cookie seller. Verna is saying, would I make more if I did a prize wheel or Plinko? I would. If I did gambling style, whatnot, it would make more money. That's not necessarily my style, though. I think I do like the idea of being a casino, but I'm not sure I have enough of a bankroll to do that. The people I see that are really successful at the gambling aspect of whatnot run whatnot 24/7 like a casino. So that means someone has the itch, they log on to their whatnot, that person's always on. So somebody asked me a really good question yesterday. How many hours do you want to stream on whatnot per day? And I said 8 hours a day, but the most I've seen is 64 hours in a day. I'm sorry, 72 hours in a day. Well, let me just do the math here. 24 times 8. The most I've seen is there's one seller on whatnot that streams 192 hours a day. They have 8 24-hour streams. That is a lot of money. Okay. That's let's just talk about, let's say $200 an hour. They do, that's on the low end. That's $38,000 a day on the low end. It's probably way higher than that. It's probably 100,000 a day. So it's just amazing. So back to my point of who's holding you back. Try to hang out with people that want you to succeed and think bigger. Desmond, what's up?
Hi, yeah. So I had a question about return shipping. I think you've addressed in the past. I couldn't find the actual
Go ahead.
video though. But so anyways, I take returns, but I don't do free returns. And because I had an issue before where I sold some like expensive Nike BB adapts, and someone wanted them overnighted, and it was like ridiculous amount of money, but I still did it. And then they did a return, so I had to pay like $60 out of pocket because I did the free return. So I stopped doing that because I sell a lot of like big ass shoes, like the Fear of Gods and stuff like that. So I took off free returns, but I accept returns. I'm wondering when I go when they go and I give them the refund back, do they do I not click? I just don't click the the original shipping, right? So I can keep that shipping for myself.
It
Or how does
depends on the reason that they're returning it.
Well, the reason he returned, he said it didn't fit.
So a lot of people don't refund the original shipping if it doesn't fit, and you're not required to.
Okay, and that doesn't mess with the metrics at all.
I think it does if you do that too much, but it depends on, I mean, hopefully you're not having enough returns that it matters.
Yeah, no, it's not crazy returns, but like a lot of my stuff is shoes, and so they're not like like the easy shoes where you could just put in like a regular like priority shoe box. Like they're big shoes, they're bulky and they weigh more. So that's why it was tough for me, because one time I had like 3 in like 2 weeks, and it just became like I'm coming out of pocket now. Like we're talking about like a couple $100. So it just became a little bit too much. So anyways, and then I had one additional question as far as never mind, I forgot. I'll come back to it. Thanks.
It's all good. Michael had asked, is there a video showing someone listing 15 and 45 minutes? There's tons of videos. If you look at Tex, he lists 7 items in 5 minutes. That's Tex video. And then for me, the video that I did that's showing me do it, it's like, which I just posted in the chat. It's half an hour for 10, a little less than that, right? Like 8 or 9 minutes for the listing part. But I do all the shipping, all the customer service, photographing, putting the item away, listing in 41 minutes. So that's everything. And I don't think a couple $100 should stop you from doing free returns. That's essentially nothing. It's not enough money to turn that off. That's an overreaction. But I understand if you're selling high-end shoes and there's more fraud, then maybe that category makes sense. I know some categories that have no returns and it makes sense. So unfortunately, there's no one size fits all for this. I'll put this in the chat as well for people to see who are on YouTube. Let's see. Here's the video, guys. I'm taking questions everywhere, EP. You just joined the Patreon. Where do I recommend you start? So this is I'll show you guys. I'll put this in the chat. I'll overview this real quick. This is the mentorship overview. So I would come down here and it shows you how to use the Facebook group. And then this week, we're going to update the advanced podcast membership, but the beginner mentorship is right here. Goes over like, has it sold recently? Is it a quality listing? Do you have perfect account health? This is the first 3 things you need to do. You don't need to have a store. You don't need to spend any money. You just need to figure out what is a quality listing. Do you know how to look up if an item has sold? And then do you have perfect account health? That's it. Don't need a store, don't need promotions, don't need anything fancy, don't need a photo kit. Nonacorn 12 is saying you use your phone to take photos and list. Are you missing out on anything by not using the computer? So start to finish on a phone takes 4 minutes or less. And using a camera and your computer can take as little as 1 minute and 15 seconds. Big Delta guys asking me if sellers at the flea market get retail prices. They ask and get retail prices. 100%. It's easy. I've seen it. I've seen somebody ask retail for a pair of shoes and get it. And I'll give you a perfect example. I'm just trying to buy a tool set. I think I'm gonna get. Everyone says DeWalt is default. Maybe I'll go. I'm either gonna go DeWalt or Ryobi. At the flea market, this is insane to me. There's 1,000 people selling tools. Every single tool in every single booth is the exact same price as Home Depot. How is that even possible? Even if it's used. And for some reason, there's no room to barter. I literally talked to 20 vendors on Sunday. And I was like, look, I'm looking for a drill and I want a good deal. And they're like, well, you can get it right here for $20 or a Home Depot for $20. It's amazing. It's like literally identical pricing. A DeWalt like drill thing is like $70 at every single booth. It's like they had a price fixing convention. This is amazing. It's amazing that it might as well buy it at Home Depot. Nothing but Milwaukee for Shelly. Okay, maybe I'll go Milwaukee. Haven't decided yet. That's what I mean. I am just gonna get it at Home Depot because apparently there's no discount at the flea market. And these tools have been sitting in the rain some of the weeks. So like, how do you know? eBay's hours are based on California time. That's true. Milwaukee all the way. All right. My fridge was fixed by the warranty on Square Trade. Is Beth here? They covered it. So I bought the company was Allstate.
Yes, it is.
It's interesting. So I bought my appliances on eBay for $770, knowing something was going to be broken, and it was. The refrigerator door was broken. It was a $700 repair to replace the tracks on the fridge, and they paid for it.
Was it easy?
It was easy.
Yeah.
So they were a little confused because they normally only offer warranties on new appliances. So used appliance was new to them, or at least new to the two people I talked to.
Yeah.
They're like, how did you get this refrigerator for $700? That's less than the repair that we're sending you. But
I was just going to insult all of my former coworkers, but I bit my tongue.
What would be the gameplay if eBay limits drafts to 250 with the new listing tool? I would basically try to have a draft bank of like 150. I don't like going near any of the limits. So unfortunately, I wouldn't go near it. With 250, I would just do 150. Who else has grown their eBay store to 25,000 items in 2 years? I think only Tech and Sports. I don't know anybody else. Maybe the highest I ever got with all quality items was 8,000 because it was difficult to grow. I was basically selling and listing 100 a day. I couldn't get past to get to 25,000 listings with quality items, you have to be crunching. That's really hard. Yeah, I guess it depends on what flea market. I'm sure you can get a deal at the flea market. I even dress like I'm homeless. I don't get why I was not able to get a discount. I don't get it. Milwaukee is commercial grade. Ryobi is prosumer. Okay. You're going crazy with the whole tracking cost thing. Does anyone in the volume track the individual item cost? No, no one does that. Everyone does cash accounting, not accrual in the group. So we account for it when we buy it. We do not do individual. So if you're going crazy with that, you can stop that right now and gain your sanity back. Cheryl? I didn't know you could do a heart. You had a heart.
It's in reaction.
The heart is cool. I like that. Do people in the group do YouTube? Yes, tons of people do YouTube in the group, and I encourage people to do it. You just have to be consistent, and your YouTube will make money. Alex will pay me not to buy Ryobi. Okay, I won't get it. How come no one has suggested DeWalt? A lot of people say Milwaukee. Got tons of Milwaukee. Martha says all her drafts disappeared. They might be over 30 days. Yeah, Steph says that the reason I couldn't get a discount is on me. It's true. It's on me, my negotiation skills. Nice. So Carl is the one, the 23,000 quote. Go ahead.
Did you take the baby with you to the flea market? And did
No.
you have your wife ask him if she could get it?
My wife is great at getting deals.
Yeah, of course she is. That's what we're good for.
I don't know. her
Human
negotiation.
nature, Chris. It's human nature.
Yeah, maybe that is the thing.
You should try with just the baby. That would be a cool experiment.
Yeah, the baby's been to the flea now twice. She seems to like it. I can't wait till she can walk. Then she'll really like it, I'm sure.
Better yet, just have the baby go up to the guy and negotiate direct.
That's true. She is very vocal.
She'd be a discount magnet for sure.
Yeah. That reminds me of the guy that was using his son to get a discount. And I was like, oh, you can't just keep saying you have a 13-year-old son that's trying to start a business. He's like, yeah, next year I'll just say he's 14 and trying to start a business. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Bring your kid as the discount. Is there training on how to switch from each item to cash accounting? Yes, you can join the group. Cheryl will show you how to do it. And she's our resident accountant. And essentially the main concept is line by line is required in my mind on one item. So you know how it works. How do the fees work on eBay? Do you understand that they charge final value fees on tax and shipping? That's important to understand. How much are your poly mailers? Then when you know how to do it, cash accounting means you account for the expense of the purchase right when you buy it. So yes, there's training on how to do that. But it's important to do both. Okay. Steph does YouTube sales. I could do that, but I don't like that because I feel like you're burning your audience. So I try not to sell items on YouTube. You're a carpenter for 5 years. And you use Ryobi. Home Depot will swap it out. Is that their private label? Does Home Depot have a private label? How much is free shipping? Free shipping doesn't affect sales as much as total price. Wow, Carl's 24 years old. Killer. I know plenty of 24-year-olds that work 17 hours a day. It's an interesting place to be. But the thing is that's interesting about you, Carl, is that you were successful. I worked 17 hours a day when I was 24, but I was doing it the wrong way. I wish I knew what to do. I worked a lot when I was in my 20s. Tax on shipping makes me mad. So the reason why there's tax on shipping is because there's a fee to collect money. So I used to be mad. Now we should not really, but I used to think, oh, that's unfair, until I realized that they pay a fee on it. They just pass it to us. The group is $34.99 a month. You can join at patreon.com/theresourcepodcast. From now till the end of July, if you join at the monthly, you will get the mentorship that will only be available for annual members after July. And it goes over line by line accounting as well. But you still should sit down with Cheryl or an accountant for an hour just so you can get it. Oh, Steph's not mad anymore. That's good. Overreacting is my final thought for the day. I'm just going to talk about this a lot. Overreacting is procrastination. Don't overreact. Something happens, just fix it and move on. And then, like, if you almost get in a car accident, don't call everyone you know and tell them and post it on Facebook. Just go back to work. When I was in New York, there was a guy that fell into the subway station and the train was approaching. A guy jumped into the tracks, pulled that guy out, jumped back on the tracks, then got in the train to go back to work. He did not tell anyone or care. He just saved someone's life, went back to work. I think that's how we should all approach it. Stop overreacting. For some people who are listening right now, that would have set them back a week. If they just watched it, they would have told everybody they knew. So don't overreact, just focus on the task. And that was also another thing that my worker yesterday, I was telling her, let's not, every time you worry about anything other than the task, that's when all these negative emotions come in and all these crazy inadequacy things pump into your brain. She gets so worried. And I'm like, look, all it is order pops up. Let's go get that item, come back, figure out the appropriate packaging, package it, put it away. Stop thinking about anything else. And I think she'll be fine. But man, she gets in her head, super neurotic sometimes about really, really worrying about. And then when I asked her, when I was doing it, if I look like I'm in a hurry, she said, no, you don't look like you're in a hurry. So don't be in a hurry. Wow, I'm so jealous. Carl took Tech's advice. He's 24 years old and he's working 17 hours a day. That kid's going to be rich as hell. That's scary. Can't even imagine. Because there's lots of people in the group, they have kids that are 24. Can you imagine being 24 and knowing that there's a super fast way to do everything? Clay is saying it's not that worth it to work that much. I think it is. I'm going there. I think money makes you happy. I think work makes you happy. It sounds so weird to say that, but I've had not money and my whole life worrying about money. And then all of a sudden, when I figured out that if you work a little more, you don't have money problems. That's like, I don't even know how to explain that. It's huge. Like not having to worry, not having to be paycheck to paycheck, not worrying about the price of groceries going up. I don't know. I think working more, usually those people are the happiest from just my experience. You don't have to work more, but like, I'm not saying work 17 hours a day, but I'm not against people who work 17 hours a day. Like I saw this meme that said, a 9-to-5 isn't corny. Being broke is corny. What's wrong with a 9-to-5? Why do people hate 9-to-5 so much? What's wrong with that? Ben says he'll take success over getting by any day.
People hate 9-to-5 because it limits their freedom, and that's the whole purpose of this, is that we want the freedom to do whatever we want.
But does it? Does it really?
Well, it does in the sense that, like, if you have a 9-to-5, you have to go every day in general. And some people don't want that. They want to have more of the flexibility.
I just generally see that people who have a 9-to-5 have more freedom, just from me watching people.
My neighbor is a police officer, and he works basically a 9-to-5 or whatever. He just went on a vacation this weekend. So like, I'm surely not going on a vacation this weekend. So he probably has a bit more freedom than I do.
It's baby time. Baby says hi. Hope everyone's having an awesome day. And we're going to be doing this call live again on Wednesdays with the YouTube chat up so you guys can ask questions. But from my experience, I have found that generally speaking, people with a 9-to-5 have way more freedom. They work less hours total. They have paid vacation. Their structure. They have more hobbies. I don't see it the opposite. Usually people who work a 9-to-5 have way more freedom. That's just from, it doesn't have to be that way. It's just, That's what it's been. So I have to roll now. Everyone should set hard boundaries. Got to hang out with the baby today, or I hang out with the baby every morning at 7, and we pass it on to Isaiah, who does the beginner call. And she needs her diaper changed, so I'll be doing that right now.
Where's her ponytail? What are
I
you
know,
doing?
right?
Jeez. Tell your dad to get it together.
I know. All right, guys, everyone, thank you on YouTube land.